Hi, hello. I usually say happy Friday, but today I feel like saying lazy Friday. Because so far today, I don't know what time it is, around about 3 o'clock I think, and I haven't done nothing. Apart from the usual, you know, getting ready and getting dressed and that and having a little bit of breakfast, a little bit of lunch. Got me coffee, Frida Kahlo cup. So what have I been doing today? Nothing. I had hoped to finish knitting the crochet. No, you don't knit a crochet. I had hoped to finish knitting the last sleeve on my purple lilac cardigan. But I fell asleep. I fell asleep last night. I was in the middle of watching something gone. You know, the TV programmes today are so interesting, aren't they, that you nod off. I did have a lady in the comments say that she goes to sleep listening to me. I have actually heard that before, and I take it as a compliment, not as a criticism, by the way, in case it was you. That apparently I have a soothing kind of voice that sends babies to sleep and children to sleep. So I do take that as a compliment, yeah. Well, what I was wearing yesterday, somebody did ask me what it was. I'm going to find the pattern eventually. But that's what it was. It was a little short. It's actually a long waistcoat on the pattern. But I have made a couple of them, but shortened them into just a little. It's got what I call like a kind of a spider stitch on it. I did make a few of them, but I only seem to have got the one black one left. Another probably incident of when I got rid of things when I was moving here. I can tell you what I'm wearing today, and I can even show you the pattern. Yay, me! Oh, I'm on the ball. Even though I'm half asleep, I'm on the ball, yeah? So what am I wearing today? Well, I've gone back to my usual beloved purple. I'm wearing a purple skirt, once again, courtesy probably of eBay. I'm wearing a purpley lilac-y vest top, once again, courtesy of eBay. And the top is from a book which I'm going to show you, and you can still get it. I'm sure you can still get it. I made literally 20 of these. Not for me, it was back in the day when people used to want to pay me to make them things, you know, back in the good old days where I didn't get asked to crochet for nothing. And I've altered the size. The only thing I did differently was I did put a sleeve in. It's actually got a cap sleeve on the pattern, which I will show you. But, you know, ladies, I think we've discussed this before, ladies of a certain age group with the old bat wings that carry on waving long after we've finished, I tend to want to cover my up, yeah. Anyway, I'll show you the pattern. I'm so on the ball today. I actually reached the book out of my bookcase just to show you. It's called Stitch and Bitch, the Happy Hooker. You can still get it, and the design that I'm wearing is actually called Short and Sweet, and it's by a lady called Angela Best. Oh, I have to be careful because I've used it so much the page is actually loose and falling out. There it is, and it's called Stitch and Bitch. Short and Sweet, sorry, and it's from the book. And this was one of the first crochet. I think my niece actually bought it for me, if I'm going back long enough. I'd seen it when we were out somewhere, and it was about, I think it was £12 when I bought it. And I went, oh. No, I said I'll leave it today. I was a bit short that day. And she went back and bought it for me. And I've got a lovely niece, really lovely niece. I've said that before, haven't I? So you can still get this book. There's quite a lot of really nice things in it actually. And I've made many pairs. It's not the easiest pattern to follow, I must admit. These bunny fluffy slippers. Not for myself, but I made them for both of my nieces and other people as well who wanted these bunny fluffy slippers. Anyway, what am I going to chat about today? I did make myself a note because I'm not the brightest of the bright. Oh, yeah. Once again, thank you for my lovely comments. It means such a lot to me when people say something nice. It really does. You know, even if you just say hello, how are you? Great. And I'm glad you all listening to, you know, enjoy listening to me waffling on about childhood memories and everything like that, you know. And I was just thinking today, I've been watching a lady called the Crafty Nana. I will put links below this time. And another lady called the Monica Way. And they go charity shop, you know, whatever. Sadly, I never find anything these days. My local shops are pretty rubbish around here. It's not that they're rubbish, it's just that they don't kind of stock my style of clothing. As you know, I never wear anything short. I never wear knee length or under the knee. I only ever wear full length dresses, skirts or trousers. I always keep my legs covered up for various reasons we don't want to go into. Anyway, it got me thinking, you know, I had a lot of friends who said to me, you know, oh, second-hand clothes, no, I won't want to wear dead people's clothes. And I'm like, no, they're just people like me who have a clear out every now and again. And fortunately for me, they usually buy at better class stores than I do. So you can get some absolutely wonderful bargains of things with labels on, you know. I don't mean a label, I mean a label, you know, a brand. I mean, some of them, like I watch the Monica Way, she buys things that, well, A, she's very lovely and slender, so she buys like extra small and size 6 and 8, you know. But she does pay a lot more for some of the things that I probably would if I was still working. And I had to wear like lovely clothes to work to look professional, then I used to pay that bit extra to get like a nice suit or whatever. But when I left work, the first thing I did was clear out the wardrobe of all the business skirts, trousers, jackets. Now I'm actually thinking, I could have done with a nice blazer, a nice jacket, you know, could have done with that. But having said that, I've just been browsing on eBay, as is my want to do. You know, I can't finish my cardigan off for me knitting, but I can browse on eBay. I'm looking at the indigo moon jackets. Oh gosh, you know, the embroidered and sequin jackets. I've actually got my eye on a couple of them, but they are a little bit pricey when I'm trying to be frugal, let's just put it that way. I may get tempted though, watch this space, yeah. It takes me back to my mum, really, when I was young. Again, we're back to the memories. My mum was an avid jumble sale lady. They were the pre-runners, weren't they, of the charity shops, or the thrift shops if you're in America. And we would go and we would queue. We're talking just post-war here, we're not talking about now. And it was the thing that people used to donate clothing and use clothing, whatever, to a jumble sale. My mum, she wasn't particularly a church-going lady, but I think she joined these churches, social things, for company. You know, to meet women of her own age group and have a little bit of a natter, you know. They used to do the women's night, or the young wives. My dad used to always pull her leg and say, young wives, half of them are over 60. But it was still called the young wives. She used to belong to that, and then she used to go along to different other things like Beetle Drive, Whist Drive. What else did we have? Oh, Housey Housey, which was the pre-sort of cursor for bingo, yeah. So having said that, she used to volunteer to work at these jumble sales. So it meant she'd get first pick, you know. The ones who volunteered get the first pick, first look. And I used to love going along. She'd give me something equivalent to about like 10 pence or maybe 20 pence in new money. And she would allow me to go and have a look. And I'd be looking for something, baby clothes for my doll. Or I used to buy horrible brooches like I love my mum that she had to wear, you know, that type of thing. And but we used to get lots and lots of clothes. I've mentioned before that one of my aunts was a beautiful tailoress. She could make something out of nothing, yeah. give her a bit of fabric and she'd turn it into something really, really classy, you know. She had the knack. She was a tailoress. Not a sewer, not a seamstress. She was a tailoress. She trained for it, did it, and she did it as a job. And she could turn anything, you know. My mum would buy a coat that was good quality coat, but it maybe had a hole in, a tear in it, a rip in it, and it would be a lady's one or something. So my aunt would actually cut it down and use the good bits and make a coat for me, a winter coat. And it would be winter coat, would be lined and everything, it would be lovely. But my mum had a habit of buying what I would call, if you're in the UK, you know, keeping up appearances, hyacinth bouquet. She always wore great big floral dresses. My mum would make a beeline for these kind of dresses, and my aunt would make me dresses, skirts or whatever out of them. So I was always dressed in totally inappropriate fabrics, you know, that were for an elderly person. And I used to pray for things like, if you're in the UK, you know what Miss Muffet print was. Miss Muppet print, Miss Muffet print. It was fabric designed for little children, and it would have tiny little flowers or little cats, little dogs, or something very twee, very nice, meant for a child. And I used to say, oh, can't I have a dress made with Miss Muppet print, please? And I remember once I did get a dress made as a surprise. I don't know who paid for the fabric, maybe one of my aunts did. Oh, I was over the moon. I got age-appropriate dress to wear. Yay! Instead of wearing some old lady's hand-me-down, you know, clothes. But I do love, you know, to watch YouTube channels. I think I've mentioned to you before, I go down these rabbit holes where I start watching these programs about old times, old housing, old things like that. And then sometimes you go down another rabbit hole and you disappear into something that you wouldn't normally have watched. But at the moment, there's nothing really much on the TV. Although tonight I'll be watching Sister Boniface. I do like that one. But, and I was thinking about myself, and I was thinking, you're turning into Victor Meldrew, the female version. If you've ever watched One Foot in the Grave, he was like a grumpy old man who used to moan and groan about everything. You know, his catchphrase was, I don't believe it, you know. And the whole series would be like him stuck in a traffic jam, or somebody, him having an argument with somebody on the phone about his electric bill or something. And I thought, I'm turning into a female version of Victor Meldrew. I really am, yeah, having a grump. Yeah. Somebody had asked me, was I going to make a Taylor Swift dress? And I said, well, I'm able to. If anybody had asked me to make it for money. But my sort of vision of it is, it's a flash in the pan thing, and it's going to be copied into in the cheap shops, you know, like Primark and what's it, H&M. I bet they're working on them as we speak. There'll be some poor little soul out in Asia or somewhere crocheting these dresses for pennies, won't they? And they will appear in Primark next week. And I'm thinking, that would spoil anybody who crochets, making them to sell, because people, the young ones, would be like, well, they're only so much in Primark, how much are you asking such a price for yours? But of course, you know, anybody who crochets would know that the raw material that you crochet with would probably be a far better quality than anything that they have made over in wherever, China, India, wherever it gets made. I don't know where the chief capital of crochet in inverted commas is these days. But I know you see them everywhere, don't you? Very, very cheap crochet items that spoil it for anybody who's a crafter. Because people don't appreciate things anymore, where they can buy them for a few pound in the high street. And like Taylor Swift wore hers, she'll be old hat, won't she, in a few weeks' time. Even the Swifties, whatever a Swiftie is, will not want to be wearing them when she's no longer wearing it and she's gone on to something else, you know. I can remember the old days of Dallas and Dynasty, or Dynasty as they used to call it. People used to come in the shop and say, did you watch the episode of whatever it was yesterday? And I'd say, yes, I did, because I used to watch it back in the day. Very little choice else to watch it in the day, but you know, I was a bit of a JR family in those days. And they said, did you see that fantastic? And they would have big shoulder pant sweaters. You know, it'd be John Collins or Linda Evans, was she called, be wearing them. And they would have motifs on them and sequins and everything. And they would literally come in the shop the day after and say, do you have a pattern for that? And I'm like, hardly. It's a designer original that whoever has bought the wardrobe department, has bought for Dallas, Dynasty, whatever, will probably paid hundreds of dollars for this sweater. And it'll be a one-off, it'll be unique, it'll be some designer who's made it. You can't come in the wool shop the day after and ask for a pattern, because it just won't exist. I did have one lady who used to come in my writing shop, and she was a dab hand with a knitting machine. Absolute ace with a knitting machine. And she would freeze frame, you know, pictures from the said soap opera things, yeah. And then she would like print them off, and then she would work her version of it, you know. And I used to think, how clever is she, you know. I can do that a little bit with crochet. One of my comments today, I think it was from a lady called Linda. And she was saying her daughter had been looking in some of these shops at the crocheted items and looked how high-end the prices were in some of the shops. And she was going to have a go at making something similar for herself. And back in the day, we didn't have like portable cameras, you know, that you could, we take it for granted, don't we? We go out with our phone, we see something with it, ooh, click, yeah. Back in my youth, when I'm talking teenage years, before I got married, there used to be some gorgeous boutiques in Oldham, really sort of trendy, almost Carnaby Street. And in fact I finished up crocheting for one of the boutiques, but I'll go into that later. And I used to stand outside of these, and I used to have, surreptitiously with a pencil and paper, I'd be drawing something that was in the window that was crochet. And then I would be going home. I mean, now you can just take a photo, can't you? Go home and replicate it. Yeah? So people just say, oh, aren't you good at designing that? And I used to think, no, I'm a good copier. Very good at copying. I do that even, well, I'm not as good as my friend Sue. She says hello, by the way. She used to look at things on Pinterest, you know, that were from these Russian designers with no pattern, of course, obviously. Or if they were in Russian. And she could go home and do them, and I'd be like, she'd be showing me this bit of crochet that was going every which way. And she's going, you can see what I'm doing, can't you? And I'm like, no. And she goes, yeah, but it goes this way, then it goes that way. When I fold it this way, I'm going to sew it that way and that. And I used to go, no, because I didn't have her vision, you know. And then she'd come a week or two later and she'd go, ta-da! And I go, now I know what you're talking about. But I can only copy if they're more straightforward. I'm not into these things that are draped one way, shaped another way, wrapped across another way. My boggly mind doesn't work kind of like that, yeah. But I do envy people who can, you know, just look at something. I mean, I could probably do something like the Taylor Swift dress without a pattern. Although I believe Christine Ondal, and then there's another lady called, what's she called? Something, let me think, Blondie Nuts. She's actually going to be showing, she was doing it, but she was saying, guess what I'm crocheting on her last video. And apparently on her next video, she's going to be showing it finished. If she gets it finished for Monday, yeah. So, and I did watch another lady, Rabbit Hole again. She's called Afraid, what's she called? Oh, Afraid Upcycling. I'm going to have to go, that was the door, so I'll speak to you soon. Bye.